Heyo, my name is Sarah, and today's book review is on Consumed by J.R. Ward. Brand new book in a brand new series. Alright! So, a little fun story on how I got this book. So, you know how stores are always on time with the book release dates and stuff? Well, the day this book came out, I went to two Walmarts and a Target. They didn't have it. Next day, I went to a Barnes & Noble's. They didn't have it. And then the following day, I went to another Barnes and they had it. So I was like, this book better be worth all that trouble. It was. So, non-spoilers. I give this book a 5 out of 5 stars. Hello. And it has to do with firefighters. I think that's the title of the series, the Firefighter series. So our main characters' names are Anne and Danny. They were co-workers at the same fire station until an accident happened where now Anne works as an arson investigator. And on her job, like her first case that she's given, she finds connections to other cases that might not have been accidents. And we also have Danny, who, surviving the accident, he goes through some changes. I mean, he's still part of the crew, but he takes more risks than necessary to where people are kind of concerned for him. Such as me, such as I was kind of concerned. I loved this book. I'm still holding out hope for the Bourbon Kings, but this book deserves its own TV show. I mean, hello! Bourbon Kings and firefighters on TV. That would be so amazing. I would be the happiest girl in the world. So we got like mystery because of Anne's case. We have her relationship and Danny's relationship because they kind of had small things to begin with, and then after the gap, they like kind of split apart, but they have to figure a way how to get back together, like, get their relationship going. And that's what was kind of amazing. And I just fell in love with the entire cast of this book. I mean, I can totally see the series going beyond because I just loved them so much. Certain characters reminded me of the brothers, I can tell you that. And that's as far as I can get into non-spoilers. I mean, we have a mystery going on, we have drama going on, a lot of drama. And yeah, I loved Anne, I loved Danny, I loved all the other guys from the departments, and they were amazing, and that's as far as I can get into the non-spoilers. So, yeah. Consumed by J.R. Ward. Brand new book and a brand new series. And that's as far as I can get into non-spoilers. So, bye, non-spoilers. Spoilers. Okay, before I get into spoilers, I have a question. When is JR gonna post the date to where she goes to Cincinnati to do her book signing? Because I would like to know that. So, getting back to spoilers. Okay, so we know that Anne and Danny are part of the same crew at the same fire station, 499, and they go by nicknames, which kind of confused me in this book because them and the other firefighters would either call you by your nickname or your real name. So I was constantly, well, not constantly, but at the very beginning, I was like flipping back and forth to see whose nickname went with who. It's like, okay, gotcha. But I kind of like their nicknames. They're really fun and everything. And it makes me wonder, what would my nickname be? But first of all, I wouldn't be with the firefighters because I don't want to exactly go fight fires. So we know that Anne's nickname is Sister because everyone calls her Sister. And apparently she's also the sister to Tom, who not only works at the rival fire station 617, yeah, that's 617, but is also the chief of the fire. Of all the firefighters. So I'm like, So yeah, Anne's nickname is Sister. Danny's is Danny Boys. So let's just see who else is part of the 499 crew. We have Captain Christopher Baker, Chip, Emilio Chavez, Amy. Guess it's easier. Patrick Duffy, Duff. I'm good with just calling him Patrick. Deshaun Lewis Stock. And last but not least, Robert Miller Moose. Apparently, we also had another guy who was part of the crew. His name is Mick, but he's right now in rehab. So we only get to see him like at the second to last chapter. Now, as for Department 617 that Tom runs, which is basically like state-of-the-art fire station compared to everyone else in Port Boston, let's just see who we know in this, because we really don't meet a lot of his firefighters, but I like them. I loved this cast, I will tell you that. We have Chuck Parnesi, Chucky P, Damian Reachman, Dammit. I am not joking, his nickname is Dammit. Vic Rizzo Ropes, and an F&G, ladies and gentlemen, whose name is Reggie Boner, but he gets the nickname Wedgie. Oh, I remember being an F&G, but for completely different reasons. It was camping, and if you're an F&G and you had your bracelet name tagged F&G stolen, you had to do an embarrassing song to get it back. Oh, but you know, damn it, that's something a whole lot better, I will tell you that. So yeah, we dive right into a fire, ladies and gentlemen, and what's the famous saying? Shit happens. Shit definitely happened, because Anne gets stuck as the fire is making the building fall. Danny's having trouble getting her out, and they're basically losing time, right? Because it's about to go. So Anne, her hand is stuck, and she tells Danny to either leave me or cut it off. For the first 7 chapters in this book, we're already dealing with that. And not only does Danny do it, he chops his arm, rescues Anne, and gets her out just in time, but the building collapsed on him. But he's still alive, thank God, or I've been freaking out. That relationship with Tom and Anne, like I said, does not go so well in the first half of this book, because Tom didn't want her to be a firefighter. He wanted to find something to get her no longer part of the crew or whatever, something just to get her off, right, for her safety, because older brother and stuff. I worry about my sister too. But when he sees Anne, he's like, he didn't want it to happen like this. Even though he has to go and remind her in the hospital that you're officially done and everything, and she's thinking, no, I'm not, I can still do things. Like, no, you're done. That's the end of your career as a firefighter. And they just get into like a screaming match and everything. I'm like, family drama. This book does the one thing I hate the most. We get a damn time skip. Yeah, I have a limit to a time skip, people, okay? My limit is 1 to 2 weeks. You are allowed 1 to 2 weeks on a time skip. You know what this book does? It gives me a damn heart attack and does a 10-month time skip. And I'm like, oh, I died. And then I had to come back alive and finish the book. Anne is now an arson investigator. Danny, who had multiple surgeries, had some things removed. What does a spleen do? And he's back on the crew, but his mind is not exactly there. He's remembering some things that happened to some people that he knew, like his brother John Thomas, who died, a previous partner of his, Soul, who died, and it's like messing with him. Although when he was about to die, he's like, yeah, I do have regrets. I want to know what happened at the end of Game of Thrones. I think that's an important regret. So Anne, her first case is the fire that she and her crew were responding to, the one where she had her accident, right? And she's getting used to, she's now used to having a prosthetic arm and everything, and she's got a job. But we have a situation over there at the site, because say an hour or two later, she gets a call from her boss being all like, "Where are you?" And she's all like, "I'm at the site." "Are you sure? Because the tracker in your car says you're somewhere else where you're not supposed to be." Apparently there's trackers in their cars, company cars. And Anne is all like, I found a stray. Bullet? Dog. I'll see you at the office. Yes, Anne found a dog. He's the cutest thing ever. His name is, well, after she decides to finally adopt him because she left him at the vet, and after, like, the next day they said, oh, they gave him to the pound because he was all better and everything. And she's like, that's my damn dog. And she went to go get him. He's the cutest little thing ever. His name is Soot. He's a gray pit bull, and he's just the cutest thing ever. He eventually becomes like her department's mascot because even her boss, who's chewing her ass about doing the job right, he sees Soot in her office when she sneaks him in the first time, and he's like, is he good with people and everything? And Anne's like, you're not mad? And he said, I'm not. If it was a cat, it'd be a different story. He's like, oh, everyone loves Soot. He's so cute. Anne remembered that when she was responding to the fire, that certain things were in the building, and she didn't really think much about it until she was at home, and she realized that site was a bunch of abandoned warehouses. Why were there brand new laptops? So I was thinking that maybe there was some type of information or something that no one wanted to see, and they're trying to get rid of it when the fire happened, right? Someone just decided to burn down the building. Coincidence, right? Because she was talking to her boss, Dawn, saying how she remembered these things like desks, chairs, which you would find, but tech, brand new spanking technology, laptops, computers, and all that stuff, and she starts connecting the dots, saying this isn't the first time, because there's apparently this land is owned by Ripken Development, and there's some other sites that was owned by Ripken Development that also burned down. And she's thinking maybe it's insurance fraud because they're covered by different insurances, and maybe. But that's when Dawn told Anne that he had a previous guy looking into stuff that kind of got close to Ripken, and then the guy wound up dead. Sign me up. I will take this on. I know I am crazy, insane, and I would probably die. Jumping over to Danny. Yeah, he's not doing so well because he's kind of getting into vocal fights with Moose, who's his old roommate. He had 2 other roommates as well. Moose got married to some crazy woman named Deandra. His friend Jack, who's part of the SWAT team, we get to meet him a couple of times. He moved out. I think he went to go live somewhere else. And Mick, the guy who's in rehab. So, Tom is already nervous about Danny's psychological health because here's the guy. Danny rescues the girl, gave her his oxygen mask and everything, making sure she's okay, after jumping out like a true story window. And the girl wants to go back inside the house and everything, and Tom is all like, it's probably a pet. God damn it, it's probably a pet. You know what Danny does? He goes back in there without his oxygen mask. And I believe we learned, for those of you who didn't know this, I believe we learned that you can't exactly breathe in all that stuff that's going, because it's not only hot and hurts your lungs, but you're also inhaling smoke. So that fool went back in there, and he managed to come back out alive after, I think, taking like another dive. And he got what he needed. And here comes Tom, all angry and stuff, and he's waving the stuff around that Danny got. It's like, you risked your life for this? And I was ready to get on the bandwagon with Tom, saying you almost died trying to get something that wasn't a pet. And Danny says this, it's her math homework. I'm sorry, Tom, but I've got to side with Danny on this one, because do you know how important math homework is? Yeah, I don't believe your teacher will believe you when you say my house burned down along with my homework. No, I would probably go back in, grab all my homework and everything, and then leave. Makes me wonder what would happen to my closet, because that's what houses almost all of my books. The nightmare! Either way, Tom puts Danny on leave for, like, what is it called, limited leave or whatever, and he has to go see a shrink to see if he's fit to continue this job. My favorite part in this book was at a place called Timeout. It's like a bar and everything where all the firefighters go, as well as the cops. They kind of keep to themselves, give the occasional nod or whatever. And of course, you got them fools that try to be all macho, rich daddy kids. You know what I mean? The rich father boy kids. And they're pushing their weight around, and they start insulting a waitress that happens to be like one of Danny's friends, Amy. He likes this girl, right? And so here are these kids saying thanks to her. So Danny goes on the offensive and starts beating the crap out of this guy and puts him in the chokehold on the pool table. And Vic, aka Ropes, happens to be there. He's part 617. He sees 499 going a little, Hulk, and he's like, oh great, where are the cops? Oh, hey! And the cops are like, hey, are you doing anything about your boy? Why he's not part of my department? Well, you're here, and since he's like, one of your, like a firefighter, we're either gonna have to take him in for assault or for murder. Your choice. And Vic is all like, Danny, don't kill the boy. And of course, Danny turns his anger accidentally on Vic, and that goes well. Moose. Danny's old roommate calls up, Anne, and that's basically how their relationship was rekindled. You know what I mean? Because like I said, there's like novellas apparently, and it kind of jumpstarts their relationship, and then we go straight into like the first chapter knowing that something's up, but then we get that damn time skip, and the relationship that they had basically fell to ashes. So yeah, that conversation between Anne and Danny goes so well. Either way, their relationship starts to, come back alive in a way. Remember how much I hated the father on Bourbon Kings and how I would make him suffer so much if I could actually get my hands on him? Well, I think we found his protege, his student, his evil spawn, because we get Charles Ripken, the guy who owns all this land and everything that happens to be burning down. Until Anne goes to, she manages to get some time to interview this guy, knowing that he's going to give her a bunch of BS and not really answer anything. Well, not only does he make her sit on the chair that's obviously wired, every time she tries to ask him, a simple yes or no question, he starts doing this psychological thing on her that kind of does mess with her head just a little bit. Where he's, looking at her prosthetic arm and saying stuff like, I bet you no longer feel like a whole woman or anything. Yeah, I was ready to burn down this ivory tower, but then I realized I don't want to give the fire department much more work than they need. So, I'll figure out a different way how to get a confession out of this guy because he's full of BS. I just don't like him. So I kind of completely overshot Tom because he does have a few chapters to himself, and being the chief of the fire departments, the chief, whatever, he has to deal with political stuff, and he's not really that good with politics. He's good running the departments, making sure people got what they need, even though they're on a shoestring budget. Apparently firefighters, when seasons go down, they have to do part-time jobs and everything. So there's this woman named Mayor Mahoney. She's trying to get re-elected, I guess, as mayor, and she needs the fire department on their side. Well, apparently the guy who's basically up above Tom kind of gives him over to Mayor Mahoney, saying, oh, they have your full support. And Tom is like, you son of a bitch. So that doesn't go so well, and the next confrontation that he has with Mahoney, she kind of basically calls him out on his terrible management skills, because he's focused on how to get the work done. Mahoney, on the other hand, is thinking how people react to his authority. Because let's see, we have Danny, who's a risk right now, but he's back on the crew because they're kind of low on people now. And so Amy, who tried to OD, he's out for right now, sad. And Mick, he's not around right now yet, he's still in recovery. So we're kind of low on staff, but yeah, Mayor Mahoney, she kind of gets into Tom's head about, how he connects with people, and so that kind of makes him a little offish. I'm like, oh, Tom. So Danny and Anne have a moment where she wants to show him that she's not exactly weak and needs protection, correct? So she takes him to rock climbing, a rock climbing place to prove herself. And here's Danny being all macho, this is my girl, when she's so casual with the staff who are guys, and she's like, hey, and they're like, sup. And so she goes to the master level of rock climbing, right? And I found this completely funny because she's basically told Danny to sit, and he stayed, and she started doing the rock climbing, right, with her. She has different sets of prosthetic arms, and she's doing the one where you have to start curling upside down to continue. And Danny is all like, "That's my girl." And there's like a little kid like, "I want to be like her." And Danny's like, "Yes, you do." And she makes it all the way without her harness. And so, she comes back down like a pro, and everyone's all like clapping because she's got a crowd. And the employees are like, "Yeah, way to go, and just remember that harness." And she's like, "Okay, I got you." Some kid tries to be superhero, Superman, whatever. He tries to do the same thing. That fool. His feet lose the grips. His hands are sliding, and it's bad all around. And he lies to Danny saying he's 18. And he's like, "Dude, you're 17 after getting this license. We're calling your mom." "Please don't call my mom. We're calling your mom." And that's when it gets a little awkward because apparently I didn't know that firefighters are also trained like paramedics. So Moose and Amy, who's still on, who didn't try to OD yet, answer the call, and it's like awkward. So the drama happens because of Miss Deendra, Moose's wife. She's just nasty in all kinds of ways. Oh my God, why Moose? Why? So here's this woman that wants everything. She wants all this expensive furniture, all this jewelry and everything. She got breast implants and everything. She looks like a plastic. Yeah, I'm using a very out-of-date term. She looks like a plastic. So everyone's like invited to this dinner, which everyone's like, "I don't want to go because the food's probably going to be terrible." But they go anyways to support Moose. She has a thing for Danny. Apparently they were a thing, but when Moose and her were engaged, Danny basically cut that off. He cut that and like, "I'm not messing with Moose's wife or anything. He's my best friend." But this woman can't take a hint. Like every time she tries to get Danny by himself and tries to remind them how the good old days between them two. Can I set fire on her? Don't worry, Danny. I'll distract her. Let me just start firing her ugly kitchen that's supposed to be thousands of dollars. So Anne also shows up to this thing, and Jack is there, Duff is there, and his cousin's there, and they're like, "Hey." But Danny's working under the hood of a car, and she's like, "Hey, I'll help you." So all is good. We do find out that there is a tie with Ripken Development and the fires because all that brand new spanking technology is like the MO for this guy that Jack and his guys call Ollie Popper, right? Who, she's like, that name, why that name? Either way, he's known for stealing all this stuff and selling like on eBay or like the black market or whatever. And when he gets caught, he has time to basically make all that evidence disappear. And that evidence happens to be on Ripken's property that happens to have fires. So Anne sees a connection there, but she also has that reminder from not only Dawn, but of the guy who was working the cases before that something might happen. Especially the fact that Ripken, that son of a bitch, threatened her mother. Because right now, Anne's mom is living with her because there is a tree fell in her house during a storm, just whatever. Mother died, not that good of a relationship or anything, but they do work it out. They do work it out after they talk because they really never talked about anything. I'm like, oh. Either way, she finds a connection. She tries to interview Ollie Popper, but he gets a lawyer. Not a defense attorney, but a lawyer that works with Ripken Development. Connection right then and there, and it's like, We also find out there's like another connection with the fire department and Ripken, because the person what's the word? Because that person who dished out all that money should give Tom his brand new spanking fire department, which is like, why? But okay, I'll just do it for this guy. Yeah, the reason why Ripken did that is because they saved his daughter from a fire. which is very questionable because why didn't she run out of that house? Why did she run back upstairs? Either way, the girl survived, was severely burned, but Ripken showed his appreciation by giving Tom a brand new fire department. So Anne finds that very suspicious as well. Now, jumping, I believe, like, I have a guess that in the second book, we might have to figure out what happened with the fire because Danny and his crew were called for a fire in an apartment, and they managed to get that apartment under control. But they find out it's also a crime scene, right? And so while the FBI, while the police, that's where Anne meets Jack, are doing their job and Anne's doing her job, she notes things and everything. We find out that there was probably a different person there that tricked this kid to do this horrible deed to the grandmother, but it was never mentioned at the end if it was solved, correct? So I believe that the second book might be the continuation of this murder scene. I wonder. Just throwing out my guess out there. Anne knows that there's a connection between Ollie Popper and Ripken Developments, but she's trying to figure out why, right? And so she does get footage from this guy that pushes in the order to get all the video that she needs, and she's like, thank you so much. And she goes through it, right? Well, on the last clip, she notices that there's a person that's backing up a truck, like a loading truck, into one of the buildings. She can't see him because it's big grainy footage, and he's covering his face and everything. Either way, and he leaves, and like, few hours later, a fire starts, right? So she knows there's a third person in this whole mystery. But when she figures out this connection, she gets a sad call that Ollie Popper is dead. Hung himself. But she's like, really? Did he really do this? And man, the trauma just continues with Deandra. I'm like, oh my god. And this is basically wrapping up the conclusion of the book. Because, Deandra comes to 499, and Danny's all like, oh god, better go warn Moose. Yo, your wife is here. And he's like, basically no longer gives a damn. He's like, whatever. And she comes in on her high horse with now blonde hair and like a new $1,000 purse. And she's all mad at Moose because she's like, you cut me off and blah, blah, blah. And Moose is like, that's it's called a credit limit. They give you this amount of money until they cut you off. And you know what she does? Oh my god, this woman deserves to die. Right in front of Moose, she tells him how she has this relationship with Danny and all this stuff while Moose is away. And it's like, oh my god, he's ready to murder someone. But not Deandra. He's ready to murder Danny. And he's like, dude, I never slept with your wife. And everything, oh my god. And after that fiasco, Moose calls Anne to warn her about what Danny is like and everything. How he knew that Danny slept with Deandra the night before their wedding and everything. And he's telling her that you're just going to be another conquest and everything. The guys just have bets on how long it would take for them to hook up and everything. And she's all mad and pissed and everything. And she's ignoring Danny's calls when he's trying to explain to her. And when he finally does talk to her, she's getting all on him. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she just gets mad and hangs up, wants to be done with him forever, right? But thankfully she has her phone now because she notices something. So apparently Anne's been getting threat messages from Anonymous. An unknown caller's been basically harassing her. The person called, and then she found out that her windows had been shot out and Danny showed up, and he's all like worried about her, and he calls in Jack and the SWAT guys, which was amazing because they showed up in their black camo and everything with the ski masks and stuff, and Soot was all like, grrr. And so cute. And so we get a picture of her leaving the house with Danny and Soot because he decided to sleep over and make sure she was okay. We take a picture with her leaving Tom's station house because she asked him a question about, the reason why Ripken gave Tom that brand new station, right? So thinking maybe he was paying them off, and he was like, no, but And another picture, I think it was like of her leaving her workplace, right? And it's like sending all these crazy messages, right? Well, she notices how there's like a pattern on her phone. Apparently, like if you answer a call, the line goes black, and you see the date. Well, she goes all the way to like where the unknown caller is, right? And she notices that they were answered. But that's also the time that she was with Moose. So she's starting to get an idea in her head thinking, is this guy threatening me? Is he Moose? So while she's calling Tom and telling him to send a pic of the picture on his desk of, the day Ripken cut the ribbon to open up the new fire station, she's thinking, okay, Moose does have a motive because Deandra, she wants all that expensive crap, right? And a fireman on that salary is not able to afford all that stuff that she wants, especially if he was doing part-time like roofing and construction. And lo and behold, we see Ripken and all the firemen, but also that creepy lawyer talking with Moose. So Anne has an idea, thus bringing Anne and Danny together, and because they all go to Moose's house at different times, but great timing. Anne finds the truck that's on the video. She manages to get in there, and she sees all the electronics, right? So she theorized that Ripken was using Ollie Popper to put all of his stuff in Ollie Popper's stuff that he was going to get rid of, because there might have been some things that no one wanted, that the Day of Light should never see, and knowing that it will be destroyed. Well, apparently Moose has the abilities to do that, because he also helps with the controlled fires for the F&Gs to practice on, right? So Anne finds all this evidence. She sees Moose all bloody and beaten because not only did he chase Deandra off the house, but he went speeding while drunk, and now he's gonna try to kill Anne. And he blows up the damn truck. I'm like, oh my god. And when Danny shows up, there's a wrestling match going on in the backyard with a gun between Moose and Anne. And Soot, who's there, barking, fighting, trying to protect his mama and everything. And Danny, seeing that Anne's in trouble, grabs an axe and... So we have evidence that Moose was doing all these things, endangering other firefighters' lives as well, so he really doesn't get like an honorable burial. Anything. Jack shows up too, and so does Danny. Apparently Mac, the guy who was supposed to be in rehab, but he decided to take a couple of days off to go, proper thing, either way. But we don't have real evidence between the connection with Ollie Popper, Moose, and Ripken, even though we know Moose had a motive and Deandra was because of it. So that case isn't solved. Neither is the case because Anne also believes that Ripken tried to kill his daughter. Why would he do that? What was his motive in trying to kill his daughter in the first place? I mean, we have basically 3 cases unsolved. I'm like, oh my god, how's the next book going to go? And basically at the end, Dan and Annie make up. Anne, with the help of her mother, decides to be girly for one night, and she gets a timeout with Danny, and they go see the rest of the guys from the station there, and they're all like, and Anne's all like, it's makeup, whatever, don't forget about it. And Danny's all like, eyes on eye level. If I see them so much as drift down to the neck, I'll be using you as sticks for the pool match. I'm like, basically they meet up together. I love this couple so much. So it's officially like the department's mascot, because her boss Dawn likes taking care of him during lunches, aka going to get like a big turkey sandwich, giving half of it and everything. This is like so adorable. And that's as far as I can get basically into spoilers. Please, Bourbon Kings and firefighters on television, people. You will make a girl very, very happy if that were to happen. Question. Is the next book going to have to deal with one of these unsolved mysteries? Because I need answers. And I would like to throw in my theory that the next book might have to do with Tom. Because he's having a lot of issues right now that because Mahoney's calling him out on certain things. Now he's doubting himself on stuff. I'm like, no, baby, no. Even you went to go see Vic, and he's like, you do your job. You might bust our chops, but you know what needs to get done, and we appreciate you for that. He even asks Anne. She's the same way. Tom, So yeah, I believe that the next book might have to be with Tom. We better get one of those mysteries solved. So yeah, that's as far as I can get into spoilers. So yeah, Consumed by J.R. Ward. New book in a brand new series. Oh, it was amazing. And yeah, can someone, tell me when she's gonna put that new posting up for her Cincinnati book signing? Because I would like to know. So yeah, my name is Sarah, and bye!